All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the INSEAD Entrepreneurship Forum. It's my pleasure to have the honor of starting the day. So my name is Michelle Rogan. I'm a faculty member in the Entrepreneurship department at INSEAD. And I have this wonderful position in the forum day. I didn't have to do any of the organization. I had my colleagues do that, that's great. But they let me have the glory moment of opening the day. So thank you to them for that. And thank you to all of you for making the effort to come to Fontainebleau and be here for this very important day for entrepreneurship at INSEAD. So I started teaching at INSEAD about 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years this July. And it's very exciting for me to share with you a little bit about how far our entrepreneurship area has come in that past decade. We've developed a great deal. I want to start off by just telling you, I think many of you are familiar with INSEAD. Some of you are alums, some of you work with the school in other areas, but I want to tell you a little bit about the school for those of you that are coming from afar and how entrepreneurship plays in that, and then we'll get into the introduction of the day. So INSEAD, we're about to celebrate our 60th anniversary. We were founded in 1957 in Fontainebleau. And we currently have 150 faculty representing 36 different countries. And as you know, our faculty are now across 3 campuses, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, and Fontainebleau. We have our flagship program that many of you have experienced firsthand is the 10-month MBA. And our students come from, it's probably even more than 70 countries. We have an incredibly diverse student population. We also have our executive MBA, our PhD program, an extensive offering of exec ed programs, and now, getting close to 50,000 alumni across 171 countries. So really just very exciting to see how INSEAD's developed, and also exciting to see how, as the school has grown, entrepreneurship has become a more and more central part of the school. So some of you may know that the first entrepreneurship elective at INSEAD was taught in 1980, right? We had a new ventures course taught in that year. Since then, our department has grown from just a couple of faculty to now 36 faculty across all 3 campuses. We have about 20 different electives offered to the MBAs and the EMBAs. And we've got not only faculty that excel at teaching, but a large of us are deeply engaged in doing research on entrepreneurship and really trying to solve some important questions there. No, but that's not the only part of what we do for entrepreneurship at INSEAD. And this is where today's forum comes in. So the other half, and very important half of our program here, is the INSEAD Center for Entrepreneurship. So whereas faculty, we focus on the teaching and the research, ICE, as we call it, provides that ecosystem, that environment that allows us to encourage students to consider entrepreneurship as a career option coming out of INSEAD, to help them while they're here find key people to connect to form their teams, and then once they're moving out of INSEAD, to support them as they go forward in their ventures so that they can succeed. So the forum, that's where we are today. That's the big central event that we have every year. And then we also have this whole system of activities that many of you have had a chance to experience. So our Startup Bootcamp, this is sort of best in class. It's won several awards. I've heard people say that it was a transformative experience. So we have a Startup Bootcamp. We also have an extensive network of entrepreneurs in residence. I think some of them might be in the room today, entrepreneurs in residence. Yeah, thank you for supporting us at ICE. The entrepreneurs in residence come regularly to meet with students and coach them on their ventures. We have a venture competition that runs annually in the spring. And then lastly, one of the things that ICE does is support the development of cases about entrepreneurial ventures and writing up profiles of key alumni. If that's something that you'd be interested in getting involved with, please talk to one of us during the day today, okay? If you have a story you think has to be told and shared in the classroom. So this is what we do for entrepreneurship at INSEAD. Now I want to move for a couple of minutes to the theme for today's forum, entrepreneurial innovation. So this is a phrase we often take for granted, right? I did a search on Google of entrepreneurial innovation, and it's one of those things that gets, everybody's got it in their paragraph. We're striving for entrepreneurial innovation. We need to support entrepreneurial innovation. And then I started to think about, well, what is that, right? What does that actually mean? And the best I could come up with is it's one of those things where if you ask someone, they'll say, I can't tell you what it is, but I know it when I see it, right? So part of what this session today is, the whole afternoon, the whole day, morning and afternoon, is going to be about trying to understand a little bit more about what that means, how we can get it, how do we know it when we see it. We could think about it's easy to get half of it right. So you can do entrepreneurial stuff, but the trick for a lot of startup founders is actually finding a way to take their idea, make it innovative enough that people will pay for it. I teach corporate entrepreneurship, and a lot of large companies, they excel at the innovation part, but they do it at an incredibly high cost. It's hardly what you would consider entrepreneurial. So the real trick is, how do we get both of those to come together? And I think this has become sort of a holy grail for a lot of us working in entrepreneurship, whether we're leading startups, whether we're investing in startups, or whether we're doing this as corporate entrepreneurs, trying to reach that holy grail of entrepreneurial innovation. So with that in mind, I have a few questions that I want to put in your minds for the day, something to think about as you listen to the speakers, as you listen to the panelists. The first one, why is entrepreneurial innovation so hard to achieve? What are the barriers to it? Second, for those looking at this question from the perspective of being an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, is how to make sure that your venture idea becomes innovative. And I want to stress that this is really about becoming. An idea is not born innovative, right? It's an idea. It can be clever. It can be creative. But to make it truly innovative requires many, many further steps in the process to reach that point where you're sure you've created a product, a service that people will pay for, that brings a tremendous amount of new value to your customers. And then the last one is taking more of this perspective of the ecosystem. So what can we do as investors, advisors, educators like us at INSEAD, as well as governments to support entrepreneurial innovation? So those are the questions to keep in mind as we go through the day. And you have the programs in your packets, but I'd like to take a moment to just briefly go through the highlights. And as I do this, for the speakers, if you are in the room, just raise your hand so people know who you are. Whoops. All right, there we go. So we're going to kick off in 3 minutes with a keynote. We'll do this actually in an interview format, and this will be Henning Puzunka interviewing Randy Komisar. We're very excited to have Randy here from Kleiner Perkins Caulfield Byers. Thank you very much, Randy, for coming. He's up there in the back of the room. Our own Henning Puzunka, professor of entrepreneurship at INSEAD, will then do a talk on crowdsourcing and innovation. Following that, in the morning, we'll have a financing innovation panel led by Vikas Agarwal. Vikas is in the back there. And we've got 3 excellent panelists. So Jamila Hwassin from Medici, Rania Merkel from Holtzbrink, and Carl Magnus Norden from Crowdcube. So if you're here, please raise your hand so people know it's Carl Magnus, Jamila, and Khanye. Okay, thank you very much. So then we'll go for lunch. We've got a very nice lunch organized for everyone. It'll be a moment to network with your fellow alums or with other people that you're meeting here today. And then we'll go into an afternoon with an emphasis more on hearing stories from the field. Right? So we'll start off with Martin Coulter, CEO of Patients Like Me. Martin, are you here yet? Or no, he's not here yet. Okay. Olivier Genel. They're sleeping in this morning. All right. So Olivier is going to give a live case on Roger Voice. Then we're going to have one of our alums come and tell you about a new initiative led by our alumni called INSEADers that's there to support INSEAD alum-led ventures. And then we'll all go across to the Muse for a demo hour where you get to learn about startups being founded by our current students at INSEAD. We'll come back here for a panel with Dietmar Hoff. Dietmar's in the back there, and Javier Jimeno will interview him. And then we'll wrap up with a live case by Gilad Leder over here, on free at OMT. So this is the plan for the day. As I told you at the start, I had all the glory of opening the day and had to do none of the work. I want to take a moment to introduce our forum team so that you know who to go to if you have questions about how you can get involved with entrepreneurship at INSEAD, and also to thank them, so I can thank them for the hard work that they've done in getting this together. So Nancy Shea is our executive director of ICE. There's Nancy over here. Henrik Greve, our academic director of ICE. And Sabrine Monsegur, our center coordinator. She's probably out doing important work. And then we've got Henning, that you've just met before, our forum organizer, and Vikas next to him as well in the back. So the two of them did all the hard work for the day with Sabrine and Nancy and Henrik. So that's it for our opening, exactly on time. So what I want to say now is just thank you again for coming and enjoy the day. I look forward to having conversations with you throughout the day. Thanks very much.